the way to go.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're going to do our breakout players for 2019. And this list can kind of always go a million ways. Like, what's a breakout? It could, there might be players on this list. I bet you there will be a player or two on my list that people are saying, well, they already broke out. But, I don't think so. Like they're going to break out from, they became relevant this year. They're going to become stars next year. It's kind of how I pictured it in a way.
That's how I did it too. I wanted that caveat because I feel like if we only do five, you'll know these names, right?
They became relevant this year. They will become stars next year.
And I feel like that's breakout, and I feel like we can have sleepers, and that will be further down the list.
Yeah, and which throughout the year, we will have so many of those kind of episodes too, like more sleepers. There's a few players that could be on the list, but we'll just do it 1 through 5. We'll start with 5. Jeff, who's your 5th player for the breakout list?
My 5th one, he was number 10 tight end, 2 years ago or whatever, but Hunter Henry. I keep hyping him up. I really do think he's that talented. I think if he's healthy on that offense, he's going to be tremendous. And I put him on this list because I think he is going to go from someone that you were hoping was going to, play more snaps or catch more balls or can he do it, to a top 3 tight end. And I think he will be in that discussion for elite tight ends, which is very small right now. So he would be considered my 5th, player for breakout performance.
I can definitely see that. He's going to be a player that is going to be on a lot of people's radars, I think, already next year, because tight end position, like we've said a million times, was terrible this year. But I don't think it's going to be terrible next year, honestly. I think it's going to just get better with Kelsey, Kittle, Ertz will be there. Gronk, maybe not so much, but I think Henry will be there. And then my number 5, O.J. Howard.
Okay.
So O.J. Howard, I think, is the guy who's going to be coming into that conversation.
Yeah, I picked him for this year. Yep. And I think he would have if it wasn't for the injury.
So he's back for next year.
You're not going to hear any argument from him.
I think he's going to jump up there as well. And I could see Njoku getting better, and there's just going to be better players. But I think O.J. Howard's going to jump up into that conversation, maybe with Hunter Henry too. And those guys form a top 5 with Kelsey and Ertz and Kittle. I can see that for sure. And those guys become relevant in the tight end position, and all of a sudden isn't as brutal as it was this past year. Yeah, and I think it should be better. So there we go. Number 5, we got tight ends. So who is your number 4?
Number 4, once again, this isn't going to shock anyone. Injuries kind of kept him away. He was a rookie this year, but Sony Michel, he finished out very strong, and he's doing even better in the playoffs. So this makes it sound like a no-brainer now. But before that, realized that he was kind of off and on. He finished as the 25th running back. I think he has all the talent in the world in that offense. The way they're playing, this guy could easily, he could sneak in the top 10, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, definitely. If he's healthy, they've showed they're going to use him a lot more than they would have ever a typical running back. It seems like before of the Patriots. And I mean, really, when he had early on, he was starting to get the carries. Then he got hurt. Then even after he came back after the bye week, he went 21 carries, 17 carries, 20 carries, 13 carries, 18 carries, 14 carries. Pretty impressive especially for a New England running back. It's also part of the reason I think we downgraded James White on the Fall Off Players episode. It's Sony Michel.
It is a large reason, yeah.
And I think he's going to be good.
Even so, because it's very difficult, and maybe I'm just too close to it as well, where I see these names and I think that they're already on that precipice, if you will, of maybe you would consider them breaking out. But to be fair as well, to my pick of why I think he's going to break out, he did only have 4 games where he scored in double digits. So it's not like he was a runaway steal this year. He was definitely up and down.
Well, people are going to think we put this together on purpose. I didn't put Sony Michel here, but we're keeping with the theme. We went tight ends first, and I went with a 2nd-year running back, and I went Kerryon Johnson as mine.
Oh, that's a good one as well.
A guy who was hurt again. He was starting to look pretty good at times, and then he get hurt, and seasons ended. But he showed signs that this could be, he could be a good player. He didn't get as many carries as Sony Michel did on some games. I mean, they still use LeGarrette Blount for some strange reason. They just need to get rid of him. Don't use him. Use Kerryon Johnson. I think Kerryon Johnson's going to be a really good player next year. And I don't know whereabouts he'll be drafted. You're going to be able to get him at a decent value. So he's going to go lower than Sony Michel. But I think hopefully Detroit turns it around and figures it out and uses him right. They really need to just give him the ball, and that'll, I think, help the offense overall, and I think he's going to be a good player. So I think Michel will too, though. There's some good. That's why I love the running back position next year. These are the second tier guys, not second tier. They're how many tiers down, and I still like them.
I agree. Way deep. I mean, it does feel a lot deeper than it was this past year.
So yeah.
And that's the perfect segue. Once again, people are going to think that we really did this, but we go from one line to another. Will not be the first or last time you hear about this guy. Everyone's kind of falling in love with him. But Kenny Galladay, he finished as the 21st wide receiver, and he got a half a season as the wide receiver one there, or at least what we look at it as the wide receiver one, even though Marvin Jones was still there. I think that the sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, I would be surprised if he wasn't on Craigslist because he loves him more than I do.
He's my number 3.
Okay. So I'll let you talk about him. But Kenny Galladay.
I love Kenny Galladay.
He has all the upside in the world.
He does. Funny thing, I posted this one on Instagram actually already. This kind of will Kenny Galladay make the breakout players list? And I had some people that responded, well, he already broke out. No, he became relevant. He became good. If this was a breakout, then his career is just kind of going to be, he was only 21st.
I mean, and I get it. Once again, I think it's a fine line between breakout and whatever you want to consider it. But 21st is definitely no slouch. But I think he literally could be a top.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say top 5 because I feel like that's overhyping him. But
because there's a lot of good receivers.
Yeah, he should be battling for a top 10 spot.
He only had 3 100-yard games. He has plenty of room to break out. To become really, 70 catches for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
he can get much better than that.
They also got rid of Tate, and Stafford had one of his worst years he's had in the past 5 his career. Really,
I went with the Lions 3 and 4, so I'm really look like a Lions homer here. I feel like they're going to be better on offense. They have the tools to do it. They should be. So yeah, Galladay's my 3rd as well. I have a feeling like I don't think he's going to be overhyped. I really don't. I think he's going to be, people are going to talk about him a little bit, but there's so many good receivers. And yeah, I think you're going to get him okay. I think he's going to be a fine value, actually. So I'm going to go with Galladay. Before we even go to the list, did you put Corey Davis on this list?
No.
Good. I just thought about that.
No, that was
we're not going to, he might break out, but I'm not falling for him like I did Devontae Parker.
Right.
It's like the same player.
No, if they had a different offensive system, if it wasn't for Mariota, which it just fool me once.
He made my breakout players list last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say fool me once, fool me twice kind of deal.
Didn't work, but yeah, he's always, Corey Davis is the guy who's always like, okay, should we put him? No, he's just, what are we buying into? Nothing. There's nothing yet. What about number 2 though?
Number 2, and once again, people are going to be like, "Hey, he already broke out," but no, he really didn't. He became relevant. I'm just going to reiterate that. Yeah. But Damian Williams. Yeah. So Casey, he finished as the 51st running back. He'll probably look really good in the playoffs as well. But I mean, he was the 3rd string guy, and then you have an injury, and obviously Kareem Hunt getting kicked off the team, and all of a sudden he's number 1. And he looks great in that offense. I don't see that offense slowing down too much. I think he will be a stud, and all of a sudden, Damian Williams coming out of nowhere, really, I mean, what was he, stuck in Miami, nowhere's land forever, and then he got the greatest, luck in the world.
He's played to the point where they don't need to sign anybody.
No, I mean, they signed him, right? I mean, they re-signed him to an extension, so you have to believe they're going to use him. This guy, I mean, really, if he is claimed as the starter for KC next year, where do you think he ranks? Like, just off the cuff.
Top 15?
You would have to be, right?
He's my number 1.
Fuck yeah, there you go.
He's my number 1 on the list. And I think he'd be top 15. If he is the starter in that offense, he's top 15 at minimum.
Yes, minimum.
I'm only saying top. I would go higher, but I know how good the top 10 is.
Yes.
And he's not going to go there, but I don't. Why is he not top 15? Like, with what he's done and just being the running back in that offense.
That is a plug-and-play spot. It's almost like Pittsburgh, right? Like whoever gets the start there will be productive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I think he's proved himself enough already. Why go spend on that position when you have that guy who can easily play there? He's my number 1 guy. So and that's one of them too. I thought people were going to say, well, he already broke out. Yeah, he broke out at the end of the year.
He is very it was very visible.
Yeah, but it's not like there's no clear indication he's going to be the guy yet next year. I just think that's where they should go. But he only did it in a couple games. I mean, he had how many good games are there?
He played the last 5.
Basically, the last 4 games were pretty good. And one of them, though, was only 8 carries for 14 yards, and he got touched.
He never went over 13 carries.
No, he didn't.
That's the crazy part. I mean, obviously, in that offense, you catch a lot too, right? And that just shows how dynamic whoever they put in that running back position should be able, should be.
Mm-hmm. Funny thing is, if you actually compared his numbers to Spencer Ware, it's funny. He seems like he's such a better. Okay,
very similar.
Damian Williams, 50 carries, 256 yards. Spencer Ware, 51 carries, 246 yards.
Yeah.
Damian Williams, 23 catches, 160 yards. Spencer Ware, 20 catches, 224 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing.
But it's Spencer Ware he's not.
No, he's been hurt. He's always been kind of second fiddle. I don't think they look at him as a primary back. It seems like Damian Williams will be that guy.
Yep.
And why would you waste the draft pick on a running back when you don't have to?
Yeah. I think Damian Williams is going to be the guy. So yeah, he's my number 1. So only your number 1 left. So I have my number 2. I'll go to my number 2 then. Mm-hmm. My number 2 is going to be Mike Williams. And
that's a very good one.
Mike Williams he ended up what, 20th?
20th, I know. It's very misleading though. I truly believe that.
It's a lot of touchdowns, but what I saw towards the end of the season, I just felt like he was becoming. I saw a few games where he just looked like he was. I saw the signs that he could be great, and I saw why he was drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft. He just started to look good. He started to look, maybe he's finally healthy, and especially the Kansas City game where he got the 2 touchdowns and they had 7 receptions, 76 yards. Is that the one? Did he get the 2-point conversion? I think in that one too.
It went nuts.
And I started to think, I really like Mike Williams a lot, and he made my list at number 2. Then, I think he's going to be him. Galladay. I consider DJ Moore for my list as well. I think he's going to break out even more. There's some good young receivers too.
There's a lot. I could literally list out probably another 5 here very quickly. But I actually Mike Williams didn't make my list, and to be honest, he easily could have. But I feel like I hype him up so much, I almost forget about him.
Yep.
But yeah, my number 1, and this one is definitely people are going to be like, okay, you got to be kidding me, really? Like Breakout. But I say that because he hasn't put together a year yet. He was ranked 31st overall in his position, and this year 64th, and all because of injury. Mm-hmm. But Dalvin Cook.
True. Yeah.
And I know people are like, you got to be kidding me, right? He's a top 10 talent. At least, I mean, that's what I said this year. I thought he should have been the 10th running back to be taken. I think he's going to be a star. Like, there is no doubt in my mind. If he stays healthy, this guy will be up with the girlies, the Bells if he played. Like, those are going to be the guys you decide, like, who do I want to take? 1 year of Dalvin Cook, he's going to put up those kind of numbers. I truly believe that.
He hasn't played. Yeah, he really hasn't played much. Like,
no, he hasn't.
This season, there was that stretch when he did come back where he just wasn't doing much yet. He really didn't. It was towards that end of the year where he looked like the guy we thought he was. Beginning of his rookie season, he finally showed those signs. Okay, yeah, this guy's going to be pretty good. And yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be good. Again, man, running back is deep. It really is. There's a lot of talent next year in this fantasy next year. It feels like just all over the board. A lot of young guys we like. A lot of running back talent. Yeah, I think Dalvin Cook is going to have a really good season. I guess there's some players that we left out that we could have picked, like Aaron Jones. He was an interesting one too. I didn't know what to think about him, even though I guess we could consider him for more of a breakout. But I did consider him more of breaking out this year because he had a long stretch in the middle of the season where he was actually really good. Mm-hmm. A little more maybe than some other guys. Like he was really, really good for a while there. So, but he would be another one I think is going to be really good again next year.
I have 2 others. If we're just throwing them on this list,
awesome after that.
I think the 2 young wide receivers that I am really looking at, and there's there's probably 4 I could mention here, but the 2 that really catch my eye are Cortland Sutton, number 1, because he's actually in the position to do it now. He's going to be the number 1. Emmanuel Sanders got hurt. Demarius Thomas was traded away. I think he was the most talented wide receiver coming out of the draft. That offense is going to be the only thing that can limit him, but I think he will definitely make a huge, huge jump, and we'll see where he ends up. And the other guy that not in as good of a situation, but the more I watch him, the more I just really like him, is Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
And he's a Chicago guy. He's going to play in the slot mostly. But the way that offense is kind of going, it scares me a little bit because he did, as a slot guy, he still caught like 7 touchdowns this year. He actually did catch exactly 7 touchdowns this year. And that it scares me a little bit because he didn't have the yardage to, back that up. But he's a player, man. I really, really like him. He's completely the eye test right now, but I'm kind of falling in love.
I like Miller too. There's a lot of good receivers, young receivers next year. I mean, you could say same, maybe Calvin Ridley, I said DJ Moore. All these guys could just, somebody in that group is going to take a leap. I don't know if we know exactly who that person is yet. And then if Antonio Brown leaves, James Washington becomes a breakout guy, possibly.
Yeah, I would really like that too. And you got to think Dante Pettis too.
Yeah,
I really liked him. And if there was the rumors that San Francisco would be the best landing place or one of the best landing places for Antonio Brown if he did leave. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if he takes all the double coverage, Pettis on the other side, and you have supposedly a better quarterback in Garoppolo throwing to him? Yeah. He was impressive down the stretch. So you have to think that he's definitely going to catch the eye of a lot of people as well.
Yep. Well, all right. I think that's it for breakout players. I mean, I'm all excited about these young guys already. There's going to be so many like sleeper play. We're going to end up talking more about these young guys, and then we're not even care about the top of the list next year. Feels like, or later this year.
No, I think
there's so much. I don't know why it feels like there's more talent. I feel like there's more talent out there.
I do too, and I think that it'll be a strange year in the way that second year guys do a lot more damage than any rookie coming in, because I think the rookie class, as far as what I've seen, doesn't excite me a whole lot, and I don't see a lot of space for offensive guys. I think there's a ton for defensive, but we don't.
Well, I feel like every year in fantasy is like you hit on the later round guys and you're going to win. That's how you win a lot of times. But there are some huge potential in these young guys that just got to pick the right ones.
And there's so much depth in these like second, third, fourth rounders, like even in running back this year, that it almost turns into, can you hit on the guaranteed guy in the first round? I mean, it's weird to say, but it won't be like if you drafted Bell this year, you could have made your way around it. But now everyone's going to have 2 good running backs.
Yep.
I mean, comparatively. So if you missed out on Bell, it probably really killed you, or it would this year.
Man, we might have to do some mock drafts here soon.
I would love that.
I wonder if they've loaded it up yet.
Here's a question too, because I know you've been thinking about it this early in the season. I know you've been thinking about it. But the young quarterbacks, which one are you leaning to any of them?
No, not really. I looked at that. Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
I like Baker Mayfield. He's my top. But the other guys, nothing I can go with yet. But Baker Mayfield is going to be one that I really like. I think he just showed a lot. I can't tell who the guy will be between Darnold or
Rosen.
Jackson's there, Josh Allen was great in fantasy. Funny thing is, Jackson and Allen were so much better fantasy-wise than Darnold and Rosen.
I'll be honest, I'm leaning, as long as they deal Flacco, I think Lamar Jackson would definitely be ahead of Rosen or Darnold for me.
Yep.
And Josh Allen still scares the crap out of me. I don't think that rushing for him can continue in a weird way. And also, I think he's on a worse team, so.
Well, shoot. Looks like Fantasy Football Calculator's open for mock drafts, so we might have to do that next episode.
Nice.
Well, I seriously, I think we have to try that out, see what happens. So, all right, that'll do it for Breakout. We'll talk to you guys next week.